Today we're going to take a look at the IPC-Color4M-T TiOC Pro series camera. It's a 4 megapixel 1/1.8 CMOS paired with a f1.0 aperture. With this combination, it has a great nighttime video image. It's packed full of features to include IVS, tripwire and intrusion, smart motion detection 4.0, sound and light alarm, has a dual microphone with audio detection. It has a 2 multi-core illuminator, which is infrared and warm LED lights. You can control them in auto or in manual. The active deterrent features include red and blue flashing lights that are controllable, and also you can arm and disarm them via your phone or put on a schedule. It also includes audio out alarms, which by default has several in the camera, or you can upload your own with limitations. This camera comes in a 2.8 or a 3.6 millimeter fixed lens. It can have two-way talk. It can hold a 512 gig SD card for local recording and is IP67 rated. This camera is a full featured camera, and we'll dive in and take a look at all the features it does have. When you log into the camera, you can see you land on the live view. Under live view, you're allowed to select your main and sub streams. You also can expand the live view window with the sidebar button, or also down at the bottom you can go full screen. You also can adjust the image with brightness, contrast, color, etc. At the top, you can see you can set off the warning lights manually with this icon. You also can set off the alarm if it's set up under the audio, and we'll cover that in a minute. If you have force alarm, that's going to be an alarm that you have on the camera, not for the audio. You can do a digital zoom by selecting and drawing a square, and then you can move the camera around. You can take a snapshot. You can take a triple snapshot. You could record locally to your PC. This camera does have audio, so you could turn the speaker on. And it also has a microphone, and you could use the talk feature through the camera for two-way talk. Next, we'll go to the home button. And you can see the different modules that you have. We were just in the live module. We'll go back. I like to start in the camera settings. When I go to the camera settings, you can see it lands at the image. But we'll go down to the encode, and you can set up your compression, your bit rate, resolution, etc. You can see the new bit rate type, which is ABR, which stands for adaptive bit rate. It adjusts the quality and resolution of the video stream based on the network conditions. You also can go to the overlay. The overlay is where you can set up privacy masking if you needed to. If you enable this, we could add a privacy. Let's just add a color block. We can select a color, and then we can draw. For example, if I wanted to draw out and black out my neighbor's doorway, I can do that. And now it would be blacked out, and you would not be able to see it on the recordings or in the live view. We'll disable that. We'll go down to the channel title. You could set your channel title here as you'd like, and also the alignment. You also can grab a hold of the channel title and move it wherever you'd like, and then you'd press apply. Refresh will take it back to the original if you have not changed it, and default will take it back to factory default. The time title, if you'd like the time to be displayed on the image, you can again grab a hold of it and move it wherever you'd like. We'd press apply, and now you'll see our time has moved to the bottom. We'll take our time back up, or we'll press default, and we'll press apply to take effect. We also can have a weekday display and press apply, and it will fill in the day of the week. You can see you can add a location if you'd like and add text. The font properties, you can also change the color, how thick it is. There's a lot of selections here. You can actually add a picture overlay, and also you can add a custom title. If we go back up to the image, this is where we have a lot of settings that we can set up. I generally just use the customize scene unless there's something specific that I would like to use for the night-day switch. Most people think the night-day switch is for when it gets dark out, then you need to turn it infrared, but that is not the case. In any one of these scenes, the illuminator or infrared or LED lights will all work either based on a schedule or based on the ambient lighting that's hitting the sensor. I generally set up the customized scene and just select day. If it was to get dark out and I had my illuminator selected, the lights would come on as needed. It doesn't need to be in a day-night switching mode to operate. Let's say there was a street light on that was shining into the camera. That's when I would use my day-night setting mode and set it up on a schedule. Generally can set up just customize scene, and we'll go through some of those. You can see the first setting is the AI SSA, which is the self-scene adaptation using the algorithm, and it tries to adapt to the best settings with AI. If it's enabled, you will lose some of the functions for exposure, backlight, dehaze, and the AFSA. We also can go down to the image, and again you can have image control to set up your contrast, saturation, etc. Under exposure, you have 3D noise reduction. Again, we have our backlight mode, where we have backlight compensation, highlight compensation, wide dynamic range, and the scene self-adaptation. Under white balance, generally is an auto, but it does have settings that you can change. We have the day-night. You can see our profiles under day, but you also can have color, black and white, or auto. You can see the bigger the value, the earlier the image will switch to black and white. Under our illuminator, with this camera, it does have fill light. You can see the fill light allows you to select warm light, infrared mode, smart illumination, or even put it on a schedule. If we're putting it on a schedule, you can go to a time plan. These are click and drag. You also can copy to days of the week if you'd want. I'll go back to default. We'll go back to smart illumination, and again it allows for targets, human and motor vehicle. You can change the brightness, and it also has the illumination overexposure. Remove the overexposure of the infrared or the smart illumination on one's face, and you can see that in the video clips at nighttime when it tries to tone down the lighting on someone's face. It does have a dehaze, has a lens distortion correction, and then you have the auto flicker self-adaptation that tries to prevent the flickering from LED lights. Now we'll go to our audio. You can see it does have audio input and output. It does have speaker volume with noise filtering. You can also set the mainstream and substream, the different formats, and the different sampling rates. Up under alarm tone is where you'll select alarm out and where you can upload your own. It does say it needs to be a .pcm file, but I was able to upload MP3s. It does limit you to certain size files and also certain length. That completes the camera module. Under AI, this is where you can enable the AccuPick if you'd like, and also set up your IVS, either tripwire or intrusion. We'll go to the IVS, and you can see that I have an intrusion alarm set up around the sidewalk. You also can set the sensitivity. You can select the direction. And you also can enable a target filter, human or motor vehicles. If I deselect the target filter, then anything that comes within the intrusion or a tripwire setup will trigger the alarm. You can set up a time plan on a schedule. This is click and drag. And you can copy to different days or have different days at different times and press apply. You can have multiple time plans. And then you're able to select them under your different scenarios. Under event linkage, you can have alarm out port. If you have that hooked up to your camera, that is not the alarm for the audio. You can have it sent to an email if you'd like, and if that was set up. You can delete the different functions that are available. And if you do, like I'll delete the audio linkage and you want to re-add it, you go up to the event linkage and it will be there to be able to be selected again. The audio linkage, I can select how many times I'd like to repeat, up to 10 times. I can select the audio that I wanted to use. The warning light, which is the blue and red lights that flash, you can select low, medium, and high. You can select how long it stays on for, 30 seconds is the max, and press apply. So now when something comes into the intrusion alarm, everything that I had set up will be activated. If I needed to add a new rule, I can select between tripwire and intrusion. This time I'll select tripwire. It says please draw the graphics. You just left click to make the different points, and you can right click to get out of. If you made a mistake, you can grab a corner and change the area, or you can grab onto the whole rule and move it around. I'll shut off my target filter, my direction. You can select one direction, A to B or B to A on a tripwire, or both. I can turn up the sensitivity, put it on a time plan. Under my event linkage is where I want it to record to my NVR. I want to add my audio linkage. This time I will have an alarm play 3 times. I also want the warning light to come on and to stay for however many seconds I prefer. You also can set the warning light up by a schedule. You can have it only go at night if you'd like. Press apply, and now it is activated. That's all there is to set up the IVS rule. Next, we'll bring us down to our event module. Our event module is where we're going to set up the video detection. And you can see that it has motion detection, video tampering, and scene changing. They're all set up the same. And we'll just take a look at the motion detection. We'll enable our motion detection. Again, we can set this on a schedule if we would like, for different days, different times, multiple times. The anti-dither, we can set this in seconds, and the anti-dither is going to be the amount of time between the alarms that you will receive when it is activated. For example, if I wanted to set my anti-dither to 30 seconds, then I would initially get an alarm when the video detection is detected, and then there would be a 30-second wait before I received another one. If you select the area, we can see that all the areas in red are the areas that the video detection would alert. By default, they're all red. You can deselect them and then highlight the areas that you would like. You can turn up the threshold and sensitivity. I'll go out and you'll be able to see how the threshold shows up. You can see that the threshold line is above where the green marks are, so I would not be receiving any alarms from the video detection. I would have to lower down my threshold to be able to get the alerts either to my phone or noted on my NVR. You can see that I can turn my threshold up without having to turn down the sensitivity. The video detection is going to pick up any deviations in the pixels within these squares. You can also set different areas. It does have event linkage. You can send emails if you'd like. Snapshots. The alarm out port. The audio linkage. You can also select your different audios. So you could actually have an IVS rule set up certain times of the day with one alarm, and then the video detection set up with another alarm. Same with the warning lights, they could be on or off. If I didn't want it, I'd just press the delete and it'd be gone. And I also could select the time frame as well. Another nice feature with this camera, it does have audio detection, and that is also set up the same way. So if there was a gunshot or glass breakage or an accident, we also could set this up for intensity changes. You can see with the alarm going off, the audio, I can set the threshold where I'd like. If we go down to Smart Motion Detection and turn this on, the Smart Motion Detection is the AI feature of video detection. So with it enabled and the effective target selected, it will try to only send you the alarm for the category you choose. Under one-click disarm, if this is on, you can see I can disable the alarms. And this also will go into effect with your DMSS app on your phone if it's installed. We'll bring that up and show you how that works as well. If I wanted to disable the alarm at any certain time, as long as my one-click disarm is enabled, I'm able to do it from my DMSS app. What I would do is I'd go into the device details under the camera, and you can see the disable alarm linkage is on. I can turn on and off. Well, I have the DMSS app open. We'll go back down to the camera. I also can manually set off the flashing lights, and I also can enable the alarm as well. I can do the two-way talk with the microphone. When I click the microphone, I will talk with the channel. And now I have two-way talk. Press the microphone again to shut it off. If I didn't want two-way talk and just wanted to hear the audio, I could select a speaker. I'll close out the event module. Under the system module, you can see we have the date and time. This is where I could sync with my PC if I'm logged in from my computer. I can manually set it. I can set a 12-hour, 24-hour. I also could set up another account if I wanted to. Under the record module, if I had the SD card in the camera, I could select my time plan and recording schedule. Under storage, I would select local storage to the SD card, and I could select if I wanted it 24/7, which is general, the tripwires and events, or in the alarm output. I could set up a time plan. You can see by default the general is not selected, as it does take up a lot of space. And this camera can have a 512 gig SD card for local storage. Under the maintenance center, you can find the device info. You can schedule for an auto reboot of the camera at a certain time of the day. Under default, you can reset configurations and leave your network, or you can select factory defaults. Under update, be careful when updating your firmware because you can brick the camera and make it unusable. You do not want any power interruptions or disconnects while the camera is uploading the firmware. In summary, this ultra low light camera paired with the large CMOS and aperture is one of the best low light cameras I have seen, even in full color. You can see at 3 in the morning it has a daylight quality image. This camera paired with two-way talk, infrared LEDs, and the active deterrent system, in my opinion, is one of the best cameras on the market. Thanks for watching the detailed look at the IPC-Color4M-T.